Hello, 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 hello. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. You have tuned into the Business Plugs Mixer. Did you all miss me last week? Last week, I tell you what, things were happening. It was the fourth, and all kind of things were happening. But this week, we are back, and we have a month loaded of wonderful guests who are going to tell you about business things. And this is particularly labeled for business people. So we have a lot of things lined up. Starting with today. Today, I'm so excited. I have the journalist extraordinaire coming on, and she's going to talk about the new things she's working on and all the greatness that she's done. You're going to love her. But before I get to that, I need to tell you about two things. Housekeeping. You always have to do the things to keep my team happy. So the first thing is, if you would like to be on the Business Plugs Mixer, go ahead and click on the link that's wherever you're watching this, and make sure if you're watching us on all the channels, go ahead and like and subscribe so you'll know when we come on. So do those two things. Also, in addition to those two things, I need to tell you that if you are a business who is interested in getting contracts, or you've gotten all your certifications for contracts, and now what do you do with it, Linda? I get those questions all the time. I get businesses who have all the credentials but have nothing to do with them. They don't know what to do with them. They have all these credentials. They're certified at the state level, at the local level, in their corporations locally, and they're even certified in sam.gov. And they're like, Linda, I'm just sitting on these certifications. I don't know what to do. So I can help you. I can help you learn how to use them effectively to get contracts. Just this week, one of my students who's in my class, one of my mentees, we were talking, and he was like, Miss Linda, I must apologize to you, because when you told us to go and add this NAICS code, I was like, Miss Linda knows what she's talking about, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so he said, I have to apologize to you because I just got $10,000 speaking engagement due to that NAICS code. So thank you for that. See, it worked. It works. It may not feel like it worked. It may not even sound like it worked. But let me tell you, people out here in these marketplace street getting these contract signing, we're talking about recurring income. And the ideal is to get to multi-year contracts. So that way you don't have to run and chase customers. They're actually going to be chasing you, because if you do what you say you're going to do, there's room for you in contracting. So reach out to me. The information is in wherever you're watching this. Go ahead and click the chat, schedule an appointment, and let's talk about how we can get you in the contract world utilizing all those credentials you have. Now, that's all the things I have to tell you. For the rest of the show, I want you to lean in and learn about Paula. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to be introduced to my guest, Paula. Hey, Paula.
Hello, Linda. How are you today?
I am good today. So, Paula, tell my audience, who is Paula Anderson?
So, Paula Anderson has been working in the healthcare industry for about almost 40 years now. I started in 1987 as a medical coding clerk, which was something that I did not know even existed as a profession. So I did that up until I graduated from high school and got offered a full-time job. So I worked in that space for about 10 years. Then I decided that I wanted to do something different. I felt that it was time for me to evolve. So I got a business license and was going to do some consulting. Well, I really didn't have the background at that time to really be a business owner, because I didn't have a marketing plan. I didn't have a business plan, didn't have a financial plan. And so that business failed. So I actually have been in and out of the healthcare industry because some things I can do with teaching, and then there's certain areas that I wanted to explore, like with journalism. So I took some
Mhm.
time away from healthcare in 2014 and explored journalism. But today, what I'm doing is I'm back teaching medical coding, and I've been doing that since 2017 independently, but I do teach part time somewhere else as well.
Okay, okay. So tell us about that coding. So what once a person gets in your class, then what happens next?
So I'm wanting to work with individuals that have already completed a program at a career college or community college. So that would be somewhere like one of the state institutions that offers a medical coding program, or
Okay.
a school that offers an allied health program. So if you have attended one of those schools and you were not successful in passing certification exam, And that could mean that you never did take it at all, or you took it and then you did not pass it. So my program is designed to work with those individuals that already have a foundation of medical coding. So what I have to do is determine where you're weak and then build your medical coding knowledge so that I can assist you with getting certified. I can't
Okay.
guarantee certification. Everything depends on the learner, but I have coached a few individuals, and once I work with them and find out exactly where they're weak as far as their knowledge base, then I can get them to the point where they're confident and they're able to pass the exam successfully.
I love that. I love that. Because that's the thing, like, it used to be about degrees, right? Everybody want to get a college degree. Everybody want to get a college degree. But what's happening now, we're seeing that, okay, you need, first of all, a high school degree, but you also need a certification in whatever your specialty is. And so taking this, so going back and getting this certification can help them do what as far as employment?
So what it will do is if they already have experience in the healthcare industry, then they can use that experience as a way to get another type of healthcare related job. All right. So that's one of the reasons why I'm only going to be working with people that have some kind of foundation already. Because if you're just getting started and you don't have any experience and you don't have the knowledge, then you need to go to like a school that's going to start you from the very beginning.
Okay.
So I will assist with job placement in my program. Can't guarantee anything, but those individuals that are successful and pass the certification exam, and when I see that they really are committed to becoming a medical coder, then I will assist with job placement. What does that look like? I'm trying right now to build some relationships with some practices and organizations where I can send them for either an externship or just a referral, so that if they have any kind of openings, they will consider them. But again, nothing is guaranteed.
Absolutely. But I love that because I worked in here in Chattanooga, I worked at one of our leading hospitals. I was the contract administrator, and I noticed that we hired out all the coding.
Mm.
And so the opportunities are out there. I've seen them for myself, and they made very well in doing coding for the hospital. So I know those positions are out there and they pay very well. That's what I know from my own experience. That's what I've
Well,
seen in contract management.
so the first step is getting your certification.
Hmm.
So your certification sets you apart from other individuals that don't have a certification.
Mm.
You may have to work in an area where you get some experience, and I'm saying in a healthcare related role where you get some experience and then you transition into what is going to be the next level or the next career step. So I don't want to give anybody the impression that they can, get a job making $40 an hour as soon as they pass the certification exam, because sometimes that's not realistic.
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
you do have to build your resume so that you can actually get those opportunities. And so if you work somewhere at least 2 to 3 years, then that gives you enough stability to move on to the next level. So it is a process. And you mentioned about the certification. So I wrote an article about career education versus liberal arts.
Hmm.
And career, of course, is like the medical coding. You go in, that's all you really focus on. And then liberal arts is you're going to get a degree. So with my own personal journey, I have the vocation. So I'm a certified professional coder, I'm a certified professional biller, and then I'm a approved coding instructor. But I also have bachelor's degree in English, journalism, and a master's degree. Well, it depends on where I am in my professional journey. So
Hmm.
sometimes my vocations pay the bills, and then sometimes my degrees pay the
Exactly.
bills.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And that's well rounded, right?
hmm So I don't discourage anyone from getting at least an associate's degree,
Mm.
because that kind of gives you a foundation of that general education. Because medical coding is reading, is researching, and it's a form of analysis and so
Hmm.
interpretation. And so you do have to have some of those skills already when you come to a program, because it's going to be very difficult for you to just jump in and be able to do it successfully if you have never read, like, you haven't read anything before that was academic based.
Absolutely. And I just yesterday learned about, I saw Shaquille O'Neal do an
Hmm.
interview with a young man who had just opened up campus.edu. and
Mm-hmm.
it is a free associate's degree online
Okay.
from all the Ivy League school teachers. The teachers are Ivy League who have donated their time, and you can get an associate's degree for free online
Oh, okay.
at
Okay.
campus.edu. So anybody out there wondering about the college thing, they said that what they do is open to anyone. They do have, criteria, high school diploma, all the things. But he was saying, and even we go as far, 80% of their students pay nothing. And the ones that do can afford to pay on a scale. So it was like affordable education. And then he said that they found that a lot of their students are working from their phones, so they send them laptops.
Mm. Yeah, I've noticed that as well, teaching in higher ed, that a lot of students they use their phones, and I just
Mhm.
don't think the phone is the best way to learn when you're trying to take
They
a
don't
class.
get all the functionality. You don't have all the
Right.
functionalities. You have
Correct.
like a watered down version of the actual app. So
Mm-hmm.
even in that, so I recommend, because I teach GED math and science, and we
Mm-hmm.
were meeting, in faith in person, but we lost the lease to the building, all the cuts and things. So the
Mm-hmm.
building is gone, but we meet online.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we've been doing, is meeting online. And this has been for them, for some of them, this has been their first online experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, it behooves the young people, the people
Mm-hmm.
who are doing continuing ed, the young people, the older people, whoever, it behooves them to have access to a laptop or desktop or something online so that they can maneuver that for education purposes anyway.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so ideally, what you talked about, them having a previous history, healthcare history, previous education in coding, like, so these are not beginning people. These are not people at the beginning, at the start, but they are people who've already have some investment in time and education in this arena, and then you're helping them actually level up because they get to count that experience and they get to count the certifications.
Correct. So it's like I'm trying to move them from where they are to another place in their professional journey, and so that's one of the reasons why I'm working with individuals that already have a background, because the program is only for 10 weeks, and
Okay.
so we meet for 10 weeks. It's a 3-hour course, so it'd be 3 hours per week, and I can't teach medical coding from scratch in 10 weeks because that's not enough time to really get them to learn everything that they need to know, because there's a medical terminology component in addition to the medical coding part. So if they already come to the table, then I can get them to a point where they're confident. I can give them some study strategies on how to retain the information, and then I can give them tips on what they need to study for when they're getting
Hmm.
ready to actually take the exam.
I
So
love it.
again, I've worked with one young lady that I worked with last year. She had gone through a program with another organization, and her program was like 12 weeks. And so once I got an assessment to see what she was missing, because what I do is if they've already taken the exam, then I get their scores and I see what their scores are, and then I make a determination. Okay, this is what we need to work on, and then I give them some recommendations on this is what you need to do to increase your knowledge, because the goal is for you to know what you're coding, and the goal is to know the material that's on the test, because it is a time test. It's very rigorous. It's almost similar, which I've never taken the bar exam, but
Mm.
it's that type of test where once you finish taking it and you pass it, you like, I never want to take this test again.
That sounds like PMP. I have project management, and that's exactly what I said.
And so making sure that they understand that it's about your knowledge. Some people think that if I have a strategy, but if you don't know the content, the strategy is not going to help you.
Absolutely.
You still have to know the material, and that's what I work with
Absolutely.
them on.
I love that. And that, I teach entrepreneurs how to start businesses, but I teach them, they learn procedures, right? But I teach them processes. Like I teach them to understand the process,
Hmm.
because if you understand the process, passing tests like those rigorous tests, that's what they're testing. They're not testing like in school. you take, in regular school, lower educations, you take and you learn and you just regurgitate what you've learned. So you really haven't learned. You just learn how to say what you saw, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then to get these certifications, you actually have to understand the concept of what it is and be able to apply it. And so they ask you the same questions, but they ask you in different ways. The very same question. You have to understand it enough in order to respond intelligently. And that's the difference. That's why people prefer people who have certifications.
And the other piece of that is that once you get your certification, once you start looking for jobs, you may be tested. You may have to take another coding test in order for them to know that you know what you say that you know. So
Mm,
it's kind of twofold. You got to pass one test, but then you got to let your employer know, okay, I am very knowledgeable about this. You're not going to know everything because once you become a medical coder, there's still things that you have to learn when you first start working in it. I
mm.
coded nephrology and I coded evaluation management and plastic surgery. And so I had no experience with those specialties before I got hired to do that particular job. So I had to learn while I was working there some things. So that's going to be the other aspect of it. It's still a continuous learning process. And you're not going to know how to code every single thing after passing the certification exam. But again, it sets you apart from somebody that does not have a certification.
Absolutely. It gives you a level of knowledge. And the reason I can relate to that, Paula, is because I worked in insurance for 26 years. And a part of that is we had to understand medical terminology. And of course, you have to understand coding. You have to understand CPT codes. And, back then it was ICD-9. I think it's
Yeah,
ICD-10 now. But
correct.
yeah, so, but it was ICD-9 back then when I was back into it. And they were just talking about it and actually going into ICD-10. And so, which is has more codes.
Right. And
Which is,
actually medical coding is learning a new language. So
yeah.
that's what I tell people. It's like I'm actually teaching you how to, if you were to learn Spanish, you can't learn Spanish in 12 weeks.
Mm,
So you have to learn this over a period of time. So you learn your foundation and then you build on that foundation. So that's a very valid point, is that there are different things that you need to know, and things do change. So like ICD-10 was a major change in 2014. And
yeah.
actually, that is the reason why I got into journalism, because I didn't think that ICD-10 was going to go into effect, and I wanted to have a plan B. I didn't really know what impact that was going to have on healthcare. So that was my transition into something different because I wasn't sure how the field was going to go.
And see, I lost my job in 2013, right before it started. Like, yeah, but I can remember going to sessions and then learning about ICD-10. So
Mhm.
yeah, and then now here it is, almost 10 years. What, 10 years later? Here
Yeah,
it is.
so it's
Yeah.
still moving along, and there is an 11th edition, but now that
Wow.
we have so much going on within the the federal government, I'm not sure how that will play out.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it was back then. It was a whole thing, because
Mhm.
people had been coded that way. ICD-9 had been in effect for quite some time. Like
Mhm.
all of I started with that insurance company in 1986, and that was all we knew is ICD-9,
Mhm. Mhm.
and up until 2013 when I left. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's all we knew. So then when they start saying 10, we were like, oh, okay, that's gonna be supposed to be better. But you know how better goes.
Well, it the same principles, you use the same principles, but like you said, it's more codes. You
Yeah.
just have more code selection now with ICD-10.
Yeah, yeah. But I love that. I love that. So who should be so other than are there any organizations that you're looking to partner with, or any organizations that you would like to have conversations with?
Well, actually, I do want to partner with some physician practices
Mm,
because I really would like to have a place for individuals to go once they get their certification. Because it doesn't do a whole lot of good to train somebody and then they don't see any results. And I say results, I'm talking about monetary results. So I
absolutely.
don't want to just train people and then they don't have anything else to do after that. So I would like to build some relationships with some physician practices, and then if there are some schools that's in the Tennessee area and individuals have graduated and they cannot go back through your program again because that would mean that they would have to pay a tuition and go through that whole process, then I would like to partner with those schools so that I can help those graduates to get their certification. So I'm open to building relationships with physician practices that can provide some employment opportunities or even internship opportunities. And then I'm open to working with some career colleges and community colleges that cannot do they cannot go back and retrain
Hmm.
individuals in
Yeah,
order to
I
get
would.
this
Yeah,
education.
yeah, I would think that medical associations are are your target audience as well. I have a friend that works for the one here, and
Mhm.
what they do is when the doctors, independent physicians, want medical staff, they reach out to them. So anybody that's working in a medical staff, in fact, I'll reach out to my friend and ask him, does he have a contact that he can introduce you to? But yeah, because they what he does all day. In fact, I love it because I had an opportunity. He got me in to shadow physicians, so I shadowed surgeons and
Mm.
got to see surgeries. Like I was in the operating room with different people as they were
Okay.
doing surgeries and different things. And that whole what they were doing here is once a year they would allow students, high school students, to come
Hmm.
and shadow doctors to kind of get them introduced to the medical field.
Hmm.
And I can remember one of the young ladies from my high school went through the shadowing program and then went into the healthcare field.
Mm.
And she's a technician, a radiology technician, because
Okay.
of that experience. But yeah, so if they have that, I'm sure they have something very similar where you are. So yeah, many medical associations, any physicians groups, any colleges that meet the criteria that she's asking for. If you are sitting in those seats, then please reach out. Her information to contact her is wherever you're watching this video. So please reach out to her and get on her calendar and have a conversation. It's worth a conversation to see if they can be a win-win relationship.
Absolutely. And I am working with one medical association right now here in
Okay.
Memphis. There's another one that I'm trying to build a relationship with. But I'm limited right now to Memphis. But
Okay.
I'm trying to offer the course to anyone that lives in the state of Tennessee. That's why it's going to be a hybrid course.
Perfect.
So you don't necessarily have to live in Memphis. But the way that I'm going to set it up is we're going to offer like one in-person session um, wherever you are in that particular city, and then the rest of the courses would be virtual.
I love it. I love it. Well, I had to tell him about it. I have to tell him right now. His name won't come to me, and I know I can see his face as clear. But you know about my amnesia problem. Today's a new day. today's a today's a new day. But as soon as I remember his name, I will introduce the two of you. I
Thank
would
you,
definitely
Linda.
introduce the two of you. Absolutely. But I love that you're doing this. I am all about giving people opportunities to have solid careers. You know,
Hmm.
there's nothing against flipping burgers. Somebody's got to cook burgers. Somebody's got to do, all the things, the housekeeping, all the things. But I love that you are offering opportunities to do something else where people can learn more about that's because that is a great career to have. They can work independently or they can work for an organization.
Yeah, and it's best to start out working for someone so that you can get that experience. There is a pathway to everything. So you can't just jump out and do something. So even with my own journey, when I went back to school in 2014 to study journalism and public relations, I actually did an internship that was unpaid. So because I did not have any prior experience, I had to start at the bottom. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's not like you're going to start at the top when you're entering a new industry. You have to start at the bottom. And and I want people to understand that if this is something that you really want to do, then it takes time. There's a process, but get into it because this is something that you really want to do long term. It's not like a quick fix type situation. You really want to do this. So that means that you're putting in the effort and the time. That's one of the reasons why I'm only working with people that have already invested in themselves, because I want to make sure that, yeah, this is the next step for you because you've already done some preliminary work to get into the
Mm,
field.
I love that. I love that. And so you're opening up more opportunities for them to get to the next level. And I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And so you say it's a 10-week course. And so when does it start?
So it starts August the 16th. We're going to have an information session on August the 2nd at 12 noon. That's Central Standard Time. And that's going to be for individuals to ask questions, to get more information, to meet me, for me to tell them what the cost is. There is a cost for the course. We have a tuition, and then there are some materials that they have to actually purchase as well. So I wanted to give them all of that information at one time and in a formal setting so that they can ask questions.
I love it. I love it. And so they can reach out to you. Your LinkedIn link is wherever they're watching this. They can reach out to you in your inbox on LinkedIn and get more information about who and the where and the how and all the things.
And
So,
they can also go to my website, which is paulaandersononline.net. That's paulaandersononline.net. There
okay.
is a tab for the medical code and prep course, how to contact me. It's all on that page. I am on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So my handle for LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube is Paula Anderson Coaching Consulting. My handle for Instagram is Paula Anderson Coach Consultant. Paula Anderson Coach Consultant.
Okay. I'm putting that in the chat so they'll have it.
Okay. But I would say that my website is probably the best way to reach me because my social media icons are on my website. So paulaandersononline.net, paulaandersononline.net.
Got it. Got it. Got it all there. Absolutely. So if you're watching this and if you're interested in becoming a coder, if that's something you want to do, you like to be by yourself, you don't like to talk to people or front customer facing, you like to just key data entry, that kind of thing is what you like to do. This is an opportunity to get paid for, to get paid for it. Like I said, they get paid very well. And so the opportunities are, in the medical field, doctors need you wherever they are, hospitals need you wherever they are. And so this could be a great opportunity for someone who's looking for this type of employment to get brush up on your skills if you took the course and didn't pass it at first,
Mhm.
and but now you're ready to jump back in it because you have already invested some of your time, and so let's go ahead and finish it and get it done so you can get into the field and start making the money that you deserve for all the time you spent. So yeah.
Absolutely. And the first step is to get your certification. So
Hmm.
once you get your certification, then we can focus on the next level. But we want people that actually really want to be in this industry. The healthcare industry is an industry that's going to always be there. So we're going to have changes. We're going to have different changes to laws and regulations and everything, but it's going to be a consistent industry. And then the other thing that's getting ready to happen or has already happened is AI. The impact that AI is going to have on medical coders. So this is another opportunity to get into the industry because we know AI can be a tool. And so some of the research that I've done is showing that AI is helping medical coders to do certain things that are simple tasks so that they can focus on more complex tasks. So
Absolutely.
so that's some of the research that's out there right now about AI.
I love it. I love it. So somebody coming in and watching this video, this interview, what one takeaway would you like them to have?
Well, I would like for them to know that this is a 10-week prep course. It's for individuals that already have a foundation, meaning that they've attended a career college or community college, and they want to focus on getting their certification. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is I want physician offices and healthcare organizations to be open to hiring individuals that go through the certification process because even though you get the certification, if you feel like you can't find employment, then you get discouraged and you think that I've done all of this for nothing. So I want physician practices and healthcare organizations to be open to hiring individuals, even if they don't have any experience or they have limited experience, because everybody has to take the same test. That's the selling part. When I took my test in 2002, I had 10 years of experience already, but somebody that's just coming to the industry, if they have no experience, we all get the same test. so everybody is measured by the same knowledge and the same information.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for your yes for coming on the Business Plugs Mixer. As I close, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. And I just plugged you into how to become a certified coder. Go ahead and reach out to Paula in the chat. You see the links. Go ahead and in the chats, the comments, you see the links, and then also you see her LinkedIn link wherever you're listening to this broadcast. And I'll see you next Sunday here on the Business Plugs Mixer. Thank you for joining us, you all, and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
Linda.